Hey there, my friend. This video is going to be a bit out of the box for the ones interested in, hearing a little bit about my story, and I'll be sharing specifically some of my struggles and some of the things I had to overcome in my career in hopes that it's gonna, inspire you in your journey. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Adrian Somoza. I'm a former lead designer at MediaMonks, and I focus on teaching advanced freelancing and web design skills. So if you want to stay up to date with my latest videos covering those topics, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications. And if you have been around, for a while, I want to remind you that you can apply to join my mentorship program, the BONT Club, where I help web designers scale their freelance business and their design skills to an award-winning level so they can have a financially peaceful and creatively challenging career. So, the link is going to be in the description if you want to join. So, a little bit about my story. And I have my notes here so I don't miss anything important. So basically, at 21 years old, I found myself at a breaking point in my life. I didn't have money. In fact, I was in debt with my father. I decided to quit my rock band after a few years of, trying to make money out of it, because it wasn't really aligned with the type of goals and the lifestyle that I was pursuing. Basically, being in a rock band, I would have to go on tours and stuff like that, and it wasn't giving me the money that I was hoping it would give me. And so I decided, okay, I'm gonna drop this venture, let's say. I was very serious, by the way. I had composed around 60 songs, so I was taking it really seriously, but it didn't work out. So I was also studying, or recently I had started studying a major in business management, because I always wanted to be my own boss, have my own business, and I thought, okay, let me study business management. It was a safe option. I didn't really like it, but I was doing it because it was safe. I also had a lot of free time that I was wasting playing games. Like, if you are from my from my era, I'm 35 years old by the time I'm recording this video, by the way. So, I was playing Age of Empires, for example. Oh my God, so much time spent on that game. But I was also, had a lot of time, and I was, Diablo 2 as well. I was playing that game so hard, so much time wasted on that game. And so, I was also living with my father, and even though he loved me, he was gently pushing me towards becoming independent, right? And towards, getting a job and basically being able to sustain myself. So there I was, right, feeling discouraged and wondering what was going to become of my life at 21 years old. So researching, I was quite desperate, and researching how I could be more productive with my time, because that was my main issue, right? I didn't know how to organize my time and how to, be productive. So I found a talk by Jim Rohn, a man who teaches personal development. And the things that I learned from him completely revolutionized my life. So I shared the talk with my dad, and I remember that even though he was always, he has always encouraged me to pursue my dreams, and he was the one who actually instilled that business mindset in me and that drive to become my own boss. I remember he said, well, those teachings are really for people in the USA, right? Or in first world countries. In a third world country like the one we live in Argentina, where I live, those principles really don't apply. And I thought, I love my dad, but he hasn't really achieved the things exactly that I want to achieve. A lot of things he has achieved, and I do admire him for a lot of things. But there were certain things, right, on the business side, on the career side, that I was pursuing that he hadn't achieved, right? And I thought, okay, who am I gonna hear, right? Am I gonna give these words weight in my head and in my heart, and I decided not to. And I thought, I'm gonna trust the people that have achieved exactly what I want to achieve, right? And even more than what I want to achieve. And so I decided to trust my brother, who was doing great freelancing as a developer, and I decided to trust people like Jim Rohn, who were experts and business consultants and super successful in what they did. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna listen to those people who are telling me that I can achieve what I set out to do, because if they tell me so, it must be true, right? If they have achieved it and they are saying that I could achieve it, it must be true. And so I trusted them. So I decided to start my career in design. And I began like everyone else, designing for my family and for my friends in my bedroom. The first project I did was actually, for free for one of my uncles. I did like a logo because I just wanted to do something, right? And it was like, hey, do you need a logo? Yeah, I need a logo. Okay, let me do something for you. And I just did. So I started like that, right? And I had honestly the blessing that my brother guided me. And so he had been freelancing. He was a successful web developer, and he was working from home, charging in dollars. And so I was like super impressed by that. We're talking like 13, 14 years ago. So it was a pretty big deal at that time. And it was a pretty new thing, especially for someone in a third world country to be earning in dollars from the comfort of their home. 13, 14 years ago was like non-heard. In my family, at least, it was non-heard. So I began with his help. He was super helpful in guiding me in this process. And I freelanced for 2 long years where I was completely in the dark. Nobody knew me. I had no connections in the design industry because, like I'm telling you, like no one in my family, no one in my connections was really a successful, at least, designer. Like I knew very few people in the design field, but they weren't where I wanted to be. So I didn't have a lot of connections there. I also lived in a third world country, like I said, right? I'm gonna put that in between commas, let's say. To me, I don't believe in that distinction between first and third world countries. I think there's countries that, and this is like a segue, right? But I'm going a little bit on a tangent here. But to me, there's countries that have a focus on other things than material things. We're different, right? So I don't believe in this like category of like first world and third world. But anyways, going back to my story. Okay, so I was living in a third world country with huge inflation. Like right now, our currency is around 1,300 for every dollar. So 1 to 1,300, so that you know and you get an idea. Because sometimes I'm impressed. I know it's not only about inflation, but anyways. So we didn't have a designer in the family. I 80%, just so you know, 80% of my clothes were gifted, and they were old. They were secondhand because I didn't have money to buy my own clothes. I didn't have a steady flow of clients. I didn't know how to price my work, and I didn't even have money nor a credit card to even buy books that were $10, $10. So I would just, print them, like find free versions and print them for like, I don't know, $1, because that was all that I could do. And I honestly had access to Behance because Dribbble was invite only. So, I didn't have access to Dribbble, where I knew there was a lot of work, right? For like, you could get work by posting there. And I did hear from people saying that. But I was a spectator at the time in Dribbble, and I didn't have an invitation. It took me like, I think 2 years to get an invitation, or 1.5 years to get an invitation to join Dribbble and start posting. it was different back then. Now you can just create an account. Anyways, now fast forward 12 years, I have worked for Fortune 500 companies. I have won awards, and my work has been featured in blogs and social networks. I have created a good work-life balance, and I have a lot of freedom. I have charged up to 10K a month as a designer, working part-time, as a freelancer on a contractual basis, and I'm even pushing that ceiling now as a consultant and business owner. So I'm basically living my dreams, right? The things that I dreamt 13, 14 years ago, I'm living those dreams. And it's really too much for me to grasp, an ordinary guy like me being where I am, doing what I'm doing. So when I started, I had nothing but faith and a list of excuses of why I wasn't doing well. You probably know this list. I'll give you some, right? The economy, taxes, the government, the market, inflation, etc., etc., etc. So to top that, right, my dad, who had seen me pursue a rock band, and now I was pivoting to design, and he was a little bit skeptical, to say the least, right? That I could do well as a designer, and he was right to be skeptical. So the only proof that I could do better was my brother, like I said, who told me that he had worked with a designer in Europe who had charged $120 per hour, or euros. So that was, for me, it was enough. And I worked so hard on my mindset that I learned to throw that list of excuses away. Now, some designers I have found it these days, right? That list of excuses that I had, and they are using it these days. So if you're one of those, right, who are using my old list of excuses, I want to encourage you to throw that list away. And focus on the things that you can control, right? Because the economy, the marketplace, the industry, the taxes, those are things you cannot control. So there's no point at all in focusing on those things and blaming those things. That doesn't give you the accountability that you need to push forward and achieve the goals that you have. So, we all have a set of obstacles that we need to overcome in our careers. Nobody is free of that. Like, even people in Europe, right, first world countries, right, like Europe, the US, right, even people like in those countries still have obstacles to overcome, even though they already know English, they already have like a good currency, they don't have nearly as much inflation as we have, right? We have 4% per month now. People in the US have 4% per year, right? We have 4% per month. So not nearly as much inflation, blah, 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 but they're still going to have obstacles. Like, you guys are still going to have obstacles to overcome in your story, right? In the context that you were born, things that you cannot necessarily control and that you didn't choose, right? Now, the question is, what are you going to do about those things, right? If you sit down and just blame those things and blame the circumstances, right? You've got nothing left. Right? Sometimes when people go through that blame list, right, there's nothing else, right? And one funny thing is that when I hear people come up with my old list, right, of things that I used to blame, one thing I always think is like, it's great that you have this list, right? That like, okay, these are my obstacles, but the problem is that you are not on that list, right? And so I want to encourage you, like I did, right? I put myself in that list and I said, okay, it's me, it's my mindset, it's my skills, and I need to do whatever it takes to get there, right? To get to the goals that I have, to be financially peaceful, to have my own business, to be able to provide for my family and my loved ones, and have like a peaceful and creatively challenging career. So those were my goals. I'm achieving those goals right now, and it took me, granted, 13 years, but I achieved it, right? And so I want to encourage you with this story, hopefully, that if you have big dreams, if you want to pursue this type of lifestyle that you heard that I'm living, right? I want to encourage you, throw your list of excuses away, start working on what you can control, and I can guarantee you that you can achieve the same things that I achieved, because I am no one special. Like, the only thing that separates me from, someone like you who's hearing me, right, is that I am 13 years ahead, or some years ahead, and I have constantly, with a lot of determination and patience, sorted through the obstacles that I had, in my path to get to where I am today. So hopefully this is gonna encourage someone out there. And if you resonate with my story and you're finding my content valuable, imagine learning all of these things, right, about freelancing and web design, alongside me and other like-minded web designers who can inspire, encourage, and help you in your journey. The BONT Club is my signature program that that goes beyond just taking your web design skills to an advanced level. It's about learning how to turn those skills into a paycheck, giving you the freedom to do more of what you love. So if you're ready to join us, click the link below and apply, and we're gonna schedule a free consultation call to talk and see if we're a fit to work together. That's it for today. I hope you feel inspired in some way or another, and as always, let's bridge the gap one pixel at a time.